Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to AMHQ Early on this Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Jaqui Jeras, and for Jen Carfagno, Winter Storm Stella dumped more than 30 inches of snow on some places. And it's not over yet. Probably waking up this morning thinking, so, okay, how much did we get out there? And we've got a lot of spots that saw more than 2 feet of snow. So check out these numbers. Endwell, New York, that's the highest number we could find, 33.5 inches. Binghamton, New York, topped the 30-inch mark as well. This was the greatest single snow event that you had in Binghamton in recorded history. 30 inches in Damascus, Norwich, New York at 2 feet, and Susquehanna, Pennsylvania, just about 23 inches of snow. Take a look at all the places that joined the Foot Club, right? So 1 foot or more than 440 recording stations had that, and notice how clustered they are, but it just misses the coast, right? So that was that rain and sleet that we had mixing in that really changed those numbers a little bit around the megalopolis. So look at how much just a couple of miles can make a huge difference. Washington, D.C., boy, that I-95 corridor I know all too well, which is really kind of the struggle there when you go from 0 at sea level and elevation, and then it rises up as you head towards the west. Take a look at the temperatures and the conditions as it evolved through the system, and there you can see we did get a little snow, but then there's that sleet and that rain coming in, just kind of hugging up right along the Potomac River there. Places like Frederick, Maryland, though, it was all snow for you, and that really brought those numbers up. So you had 11 inches of snow, while D.C. got about 1.5 inches and around 2 inches in Baltimore. So the snow deficit continues in some of these cities like D.C. as well as into Baltimore. However, we've got a surplus now in a few cities across parts of the Northeast. So D.C., you're still shy by about 1 foot for the season. Philadelphia, you're down as well by about 1/2 foot. But New York, look at these numbers now. You've got 1/2 foot surplus away. Let's take a look at what we can expect here in terms of additional snowfall. And even, by the way, in places where it's not snowing any longer this morning, keep in mind a lot of the roadways not cleared properly, temperatures below freezing across the Northeast, so you're still going to be encountering some of those travel troubles. So there you can see the snow coming down along I-81 around Watertown over towards Saranac Lake. A little bit of a break here, but you're going to see these occasional snow showers continuing and a little bit of enhancement that's going to be coming in off of the lakes and just kind of the back end here of Stella that continues to bring that snowfall primarily into the interior parts of the Northeast. Look at Buffalo at 14 degrees. You've got 15 in Syracuse. Binghamton, you're still seeing some of those snow showers coming in off the lake as well, with a temperature right around 11 degrees. And then Burlington, you're still looking at a number of inches of snowfall before all is said and done. In fact, you could probably get maybe another 6 inches on top of what you have. So as you look at the wider view, you can see interior parts of the Northeast dealing with the snow while we're clear now in New York City at 21 degrees. I would not be surprised if some of these little bands did come around and bring a few flurries for you in places like New York as well as into Philadelphia. Even D.C. could get in on some of that action, certainly northern Maryland, and said, how about this for a blizzard? I like this one better. I think I do as well. Well, we didn't have technically a blizzard into the Northeast in most locations, and you didn't get any snow for the most part across the Southeast, but you certainly are getting in on the cold. Here's a big look at the big freeze warning that are in effect from Springfield to St. Louis through Nashville, Atlanta. Nashville, you're dealing with a hard freeze right now. Your temperatures have dropped 28 degrees or below for 4 hours. That's the general criteria for a hard freeze. And when that happens, that's going to kill any sensitive vegetation. So hopefully you got out there last night or even early this morning. Maybe it's not too late to get out and try and cover all of this up so you protect any of those blooms. I know I'm worried about my blueberry bushes myself. Notice temperatures right now. You're 29 in Atlanta, 26 degrees in Raleigh. It's still 40 though in Jacksonville, but certainly on the chilly side here. New Orleans at 47 and Jackson at 36 degrees. Temperatures are going to be warming up throughout the day today, but we still have a little bit of a breeze here. That means the feels like temperatures. Go ahead and take maybe about 5 degrees off the thermometer, and that's going to be the temperature that your body is going to be feeling across parts of the Southeast. Temperatures will stay below average by about 5 to 15 degrees. Well, we want to go coast to coast now with your weather headlines. First, at our weekend in view, and I do think we'll continue to see some travel problems across the northeastern corridor due to those strong winds and still some snow from Stella. As we take a look at the forecast, as we move over in time. Look at Denver, by the way, the Mile High City tomorrow, 76 degrees. That sounds absolutely beautiful and perfect. A new storm system, little clipper, comes out of the Midwest late Thursday and into your Friday. This is going to take more of a northerly track, so we're going to see a lot more rain this go around as opposed to some snow. On Saturday, though, we will still see some snow, especially into New England, with a little wintry mix into the interior mid-Atlantic, probably more rain than anything else. And then on Sunday, that begins to die down just a little bit. We'll see warmer temperatures in Dallas with 84 degrees, and then we'll watch for a little rain and perhaps a wintry mix across parts of the Intermountain West. Fargo looking for partly cloudy skies and 52 degrees, while Chicago getting out of the icebox at least a little bit with those temperatures back into the 40s. Straight ahead on AMHQ early, spring may be day, and even when it's not snowing during the day today in Syracuse, I do think we're going to have some blowing snow issues, and this is going to create problems on the roadways. Tough to keep them clear when those winds keep blowing, especially coming in off that lake. So the I-81 corridor is certainly a problem, as well as I-90 across parts of New York State for today. Utica getting in on the snow as well. You can see the backside here of Stella along with that lake enhancement going on, and we just don't expect this to stop until after the PM rush. So if possible, a lot of these places probably still want to stay home today if you can. Otherwise, be really, really cautious on the roadways. You can see the direction of the lake effect snows, and that's going to continue with the offshore winds. We've got wind advisories, by the way, from Washington, D.C. on up towards New York City, and that's bringing the wind chill conditions even colder than this. So feeling like single digits in a lot of spots here this morning. You definitely need to bundle up. As we go throughout the day today, you can see a little bit happening, continuing into the interior parts of the Northeast. You could get a couple of flurries in Philadelphia as well as New York City with those lake effect bands going that far from It the Book. How about that? Little trivia for you here this morning. Well, Atlanta is not feeling like hot Atlanta for sure, nor is it feeling warm in Nashville, Memphis, St. Louis. A lot of real estate being covered by these freeze warnings as well as some hard freeze warnings. And we say hard freeze, the big difference is the general rule, 28 degrees for 4 hours or more, and that's pretty much going to kill any sensitive vegetation and generally brings an end to the growing season. You got to start over. So you don't want to do any of that planting. You can cover up your plants in the overnight and early morning hours, but once that sun comes out and starts to bake on it, you want to lift them off because that can also cause problems with your blooms. Check it out. Nashville, you've got the hard freeze. Atlanta, close but not quite at 29, 26 in Raleigh. We've got 50-degree temperatures though in Florida, but chilly into northern parts of the state. Highs today going to be about 10 to 20 degrees below average. Going to stay in the 40s in many locations. Few of you getting into the 50s like Jackson as well as New Orleans. Tampa, only 60 degrees. That's cold by your standards this time of the year, and we're gradually going to watch these temperatures warm up a little bit as we head towards the weekend. But take a look at this. Almost everybody east of the Mississippi, as a general rule, will see temperatures below average, anywhere between about 5 and 15 below average. The low in Atlanta forecast 27 degrees, so that's 15 to 20 below average. Nashville 24, DC even down to 23 degrees. So those clouds cleared out in the overnight hours, and that really allowed our temperatures to continue to drop like a rock. Take a look at this. We could even see a few records. Forecast low in Montgomery, 29 degrees, 28 in Charleston, and 31 in Tallahassee. We want to take your coat leaves out of it when people leave that snow on the roof of their car. It's like a big loaf of bread on top of there, and it can just come off the car behind you and go right in your face when you're trying to drive. Well, more snow in the forecast across parts of the Northeast today and tomorrow. Mostly lake effect ongoing, and along with elevation, it's going to stay cold in the east as well, but we're going to be tracking our next storm system Thursday in the Midwest, Friday across the Great Lakes, moving into the Northeast Friday night and into your Saturday. This storm not nearly as strong as our last one. Our moisture a little bit limited, so our snowfall totals are going to stay confined to New England. Perhaps a little wintry mix at times in New York City. 41 degrees will be the temperature there. Just rain for you in Washington, D.C. Rains back into Atlanta on your Saturday as well. By Sunday, most of this starts to clear out. Notice the temperatures moderate across parts of the south. We've had a lot of heat across the west. That moves into the southern plains, at least by your Sunday. Blowing everything around and really creating those visibility problems. And even though a lot of the snow has pulled out, at least into the I-95 corridor, we're still dealing with those strong winds today. Let's take a look at some of the numbers. I know a lot of you are waking up saying, all right, how much did we get? Well, this storm did perform as expected. The track was just a little farther inland, right? So we still got a lot of big numbers. Plenty of folks into the 30-inch category. Look at this, 33.5 95 in Enwell, New York. Binghamton, New York. This was your biggest snow total ever from any one storm. Just incredible to see those kind of numbers. Take a look at the difference of just a couple of miles and how this could really affect your forecast. And I think this helps explain the situation of the haves and the have-nots in the storm in terms of snowfall. Philadelphia over towards Harrisburg, it's about a 40-mile jaunt. And look as the storm evolves. You can see some of that pink beginning to show up. We had sleet in Philadelphia, and then that rain was coming in on the Jersey Shore along with the coastal flooding. But Allentown, Harrisburg, you were all snow throughout the entire event. So because of that, your numbers were a lot bigger. Allentown coming in with more than a foot. Harrisburg coming in with 17 inches of snow. So it's going to take a while to dig out of all of this. And the snow is still coming down in many locations. We kind of have the back edge here of Stella impacting us today. Along with that, the cold air is blowing over the warmer Great Lakes, which still are not iced over. Here we are. This time of the year, we should be thinking about melting more than anything else. And you can kind of see some of the little streamlines. These little streamers are going to drop down into Pennsylvania, likely make their way towards Philadelphia. Could get a couple of flurries into New York City later on today. And with those offshore winds strong today, we've got wind advisories in effect. Plus, it's really going to impact your feels-like temperatures. So in the 20s, but it's going to be feeling like teens through most of the day. We'll put this in motion for you. There you can see some of those snow showers making their way closer towards I-95. So be aware of that. And there's the potential there that a few spots could maybe pick up a quick dusting, but the main accumulation still closer to the lakes and along with elevation into New York State up towards Burlington. You could get maybe another handful of inches of snowfall before all is said and done. Notice a few spots a little closer to 1 or 2 temperatures across much of the southeast. Not just what we're dealing with this morning, but a lot of times the second day of the high ends up being the coldest one. So if you think you're really cold this morning as you stepped out the door, maybe to let the dog out or something like that, tomorrow morning the temperatures will probably be even a few lower. So a lot of alerts in effect because of the freeze. A lot of blooms and buds have come out, even some leafing on the trees. And with temperatures down in the 20s, that's a real problem. Hopefully you covered up those plants last night. I know I brought my snapdragons in and I covered up my blueberry bushes because they were all in bloom. High temperatures this afternoon are going to be warming up. So at least we're getting above the freezing mark compared to people in the Northeast that won't be. 42 in Nashville, 44 in Atlanta, 42 degrees in Raleigh. You'll be cool even for you in places like Tampa with high temperature around 60 degrees. So how unusual is it to be this cold this time of the year? We're not breaking any records right now, but we're definitely below average. Take a look. Almost everybody east of the Rockies or east of the Mississippi River rather, is dealing with temperatures below average. In general, 5 to 15 degrees below average. And notice the pink dots. Those are the ones confined to the southeast. That's where the coldest air is going to be settling in terms of where you should be towards average. So the average low 27 is where we're at in Atlanta, and we should be seeing temperatures much warmer than that. Take a look at the forecast lows for you. Montgomery, 29 degrees. This is typically what you would see on March 12th. Charleston, 28 and 31 degrees in Tallahassee. Well, coming up on AMHQ, we will continue our live winter storm coverage of Stella.